Welcome back to How to Create Retro Elements in Adobe Illustrator. I'm Mary Winkler for Envato Tutsplus. In this lesson, we'll continue creating old-timey electronics with a fun vintage radio design. Let's start by checking out our finished design. I'll keep it to the left of our workspace this time around. It's fairly simple, being comprised of basic shapes compiled in a similar fashion to our previous lesson. Draw a rectangle using the Rectangle tool, shortcut M, in turquoise or teal. My rectangle is about 4 1/4 inches by 2 1/2 inches. Round out the corners by pulling the live corners inward. Like our TV, apply an inflation effect by going to Effect, Warp, Inflate. Play with your inflation percentage a bit. Mine is around 14%. Awesomely, you can still adjust your live corners at this stage without losing the inflation effect. Expand your object's appearance when you're satisfied. Draw a creamy yellow rectangle in the center of your teal rectangle. Apply an inflation effect to it and set the stroke color to Harvest Gold. Expand the appearance of your object and group your objects together. Next, draw thin Harvest Gold, yellow-orange, rectangles on the left side of your design. Draw 2 of them. Align their vertical centers and use the Blend tool, shortcut W, to create a blend by selecting each rectangle within the tool. Hit Enter to bring up the tool's options. Select specified steps under Spacing. Select Preview and reduce the number of steps. I opted for 8 total. Hit OK. Under Object, hit Expand with Object and Fill selected. This will expand your blend into objects. Unite the rectangles in the Pathfinder panel and adjust their placement. Draw a dark gray circle next to the rectangle group with the Ellipse tool, shortcut L. Set the stroke color to teal. Draw a yellow circle in the center of the gray one and align them to their centers in the Align panel. Draw a large ellipse that overlaps most of the rectangle group. My initial ellipse was too large and circular, so I've adjusted it to match the shape of my first radio design. Overlap the rectangle group so that most of the right side is covered. Select the rectangle group and the ellipse. Hit Intersect in the Pathfinder panel. Make sure the fill color of your resulting shape is Harvest Gold. Adjust the placement of this compound shape so it's mostly in the upper half of the radio design, but on the left side. Check out my example on the left for placement as well as where I've put it. I duplicated the dark gray circle that's been hanging out on the right. Place this over the rectangle compound shape a bit on the right and hit minus front in the Pathfinder panel. If you were like me and had it underneath the compound shape, hit minus back instead. Expand your compound shape. Use the Direct Selection tool to select the top and bottom components of the compound shape. Round out the top and bottom edges slightly by selecting each corner and carefully manipulating the live corners of the shapes. Draw a yellow circle in the center of the radio dial with a stroke color of dark gray. Draw a teal rectangle in the center of the large circle, placing it below the yellow circle. Rotate it as you see fit. Draw a smaller circle in the center of the yellow one. Use the Direct Selection tool to push the bottom anchor point upward. Set the fill color to yellow, blending mode in the Transparency panel to Screen, and opacity to 50% or so. Copy and paste 2 instances of this highlight shape. Overlap them so a small sliver is left, and hit minus front in the Pathfinder panel. Set the blending mode to multiply and rotate it 180 degrees. Place it on the bottom edge of the yellow circle. Duplicate the central dial button we just made. Draw a larger yellow circle with a yellow-orange stroke and place it behind this dial group. Duplicate 2 instances of this dial and align it to all 3 of their horizontal centers. Distribute them evenly along the bottom of the radio. Draw a large ellipse overlapping the upper portion of the radio. Select the yellow rounded rectangle in this ellipse and use the Shape Builder tool to select the non-intersecting shape. Delete this extraneous shape and set the fill color to yellow, blending mode to Screen, and reduce the opacity as you see fit. Place the shape above the yellow rectangle in the Layers panel, but above the other radio components. Let's finish up our radio design. Draw a teal rectangle and round the corners off a bit. Apply a horizontal arc effect. Go to Effect, Warp, Arc of about 10 to 15% or so. Use the pen tool to draw a crooked line connecting the side of the radio with its handle. Set the stroke color to gray with the caps and corners rounded and the weight to 5 points or so in the Stroke panel. Select the corners of this line with the Direct Selection tool and round off the corners a bit. Draw a teal ellipse on the side of the radio where the wire connects. Place the wire shape behind the handle and radio. Copy and paste the ellipse and wire shape and reflect it over a vertical axis. Place this on the right side of the radio. Let's draw some buttons. Draw a yellow rectangle. Round off the top edge by selecting the top 2 corners and pulling their live corners toward the center of the design. Duplicate this shape. Align and distribute them evenly, and place them behind the top edge of the radio. Finally, draw a gray ellipse. Copy a new instance of it. Between two of the ellipses, draw a rectangle. Unite the bottom ellipse and rectangle in the Pathfinder panel and set its fill color to dark gray. Group together. Copy and paste this group and place on either side of the radio's top edge. Rotate them slightly. Once you have everything where you like it, group together your design. Step back and appreciate your radio design. Make adjustments where you see fit to match either version of my radios or play with alternate versions of your own. Thank you so much for joining me in this short lesson on creating a retro radio design. In our next lesson, we'll continue the trend of creating fun retro objects by drawing a microphone.